Hi, this is Matt with Inmate Search Info. Today we're going to be taking a look at how to find California inmates. And to do that, we're going to look at the California Public Inmate Locator System. Now, California has about 130,000 inmates based on the last census taken. So it's quite a lot of people that are involved in the California inmate system. And that's just the state level, not including the federal. One thing that you'll notice when you go to the California locator site, which is true of a lot of the other inmate sites, and this is something that we sometimes skip over, is that they have a lot of disclaimers. And some of the disclaimers are to do with incorrect information in terms of, what you might find, just kind of making sure that they don't get in trouble for putting the wrong info out. Obviously, they're making their best effort to make sure that it is accurate. But also just something to bear in mind with all of these types of inmate searches is that they're not to be used for any kind of official purpose. So not to be used for any kind of judgment on someone with regard to employment or anything to do with credit decisions, housing, things like that. So just something to bear in mind with all of these types of searches that you do. You don't want to use them for an official purpose or you could get in trouble yourself. Obviously, there are plenty of good reasons to do these kinds of searches, perfectly legal reasons, but just make sure you don't run afoul of the laws that exist. There are specific types of official searches you can do that are perfectly legal and fine and have been vetted, and you're safe in doing that. But this is, even going to the official website of an inmate system for a particular state is not good enough for official legal purposes. They want to make sure you know that, and I want to make sure you know that as well. Other thing, of course, is that they don't want people harassing inmates or past offenders, or using this for harassing purposes. And that's a separate matter, but just something to bear in mind. They're disclaiming that. One thing that you'll get, which I've already clicked on through, is that they do have a number you can call for trying to find inmates. Like I say, I clicked through it, but there is a number you can call to help you if you're not able to navigate this correctly. So when you go to this site, you can find that and maybe take advantage of that. So after you agree to the disclaimers, you get to the actual search. So like a lot of the other inmate sites we've looked at in terms of the different states, if you do happen to have, the specific corrections ID number, this one, the California Department of Corrections number, you can put that in and obviously go right to your inmate. Otherwise, you can search by name, middle initial. They don't really let you narrow it down any further than that. So that can be tricky when you have a huge prison population. If it's a common name, you don't really have a way of narrowing it down as far as like birth year or anything like that. So it is a little bit limited in that regard. And I don't know if that's by design or whatever the case is, but they do make it a little trickier. So we'll put in, just for fun, we'll put in a common name just so you can get an idea of the types and the number of results you could get. And we'll search for inmate. So as with some of the other inmate sites we've looked at, it's the order that they give it to you in is not terribly clear. One thing to know about this inmate search is that it does not include past offenders. So some states will give you the list of people, even if they were offenders 20, 30 years ago or more. Basically goes back into history. This will only show you people who are currently in the system. So if you do a search here and you don't see a result for someone, it may be that they've already moved on, they're out, or maybe they were never in, but it's not going to give you any historical information. The results that you see basically give you the location, admission date. There's no date of birth, so again, you don't necessarily have an identifier beyond the age. So if you know the rough age range, you can maybe narrow it down. Obviously, we have a number here that are kind of in the same age range, so that makes it a little trickier, but they do give you at least a little bit of information. Clicking on the actual inmate name really doesn't give you much more info. You do get, in addition to the info that was on the first page, the only additional information is to do with parole. So this, you can see when the parole date is. That may be of interest to you if you're a party to that. And you do get to see if there have been past paroles. You can see, what the actions are. And Obviously, in this case, this person has not even gotten there yet, so it's still very early, but that's really the only additional information you give. So there's not a whole lot of information to go on with California. Obviously, if it's an atypical name, if you only get a couple of results, it's easy enough to work through those and potentially see if you can find the person you're looking for. They do give you the direct link to the facility that they're located in. So if you are trying to get in touch with someone, even if you're not 100% sure, you can potentially contact them and see if it's the person you're looking for, if that's the nature of the relationship that you have with the person. So again, in here you can see more information about that, sending letters, things like that. That's pretty much it for the California inmate search. If you are interested in the step-by-step instructions on this type of offender search, as well as some additional links for things like sexual offenders, which is something that does go back into history, that does exist for people who are no longer in the system but out in the world. If you want to find out about how to search for those kinds of folks in California, background checks for California, things like that, please visit our link below in the description, which will also give you the direct link to this California inmate search function that California offers. Thanks so much for watching.